Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Professional Women's Meetup podcast. I'm your host, Christine Fernandez, and today we have a guest who brings a fresh perspective to a challenging area of life, and that is divorce. Zaynab is a specialized divorce coach who focuses on high conflict cases and is on her way to building a career in family mediation and parenting coordination. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
So lovely to have you here. All right, so to kick things off, could you tell our listeners a bit about your background and what led you to become a divorce coach and family mediator?
So, my background is actually in social work, and I used to work in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, for 10 years. I worked for a nonprofit foundation, and we basically use music, arts, and culture in engaging the local community. We focused a lot on diversity, and we developed initiatives working with underprivileged groups like women shelters and women going through, human trafficking, orphanages, special needs centers. It was very rewarding and it taught me a lot about how to deal with people. But after that, I came back to Canada and I went through a very difficult divorce. And that really, really opened my eyes to the challenges that people face in high conflict separations. And I think that really inspired me to shift my career to helping others or how to deal with these like really difficult transitions. So I first became a certified divorce coach, and then I specialized in high conflict divorce coaching. And I was really fascinated by mediation, and I became an accredited family mediator. And I also deepened my expertise in parenting coordination and arbitration, which is something I also want to develop in the future. So, all in all, it's a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, very fulfilling work, helping families and children, especially, get through divorce with the least conflict as possible.
Absolutely. I love that. Helping people just navigate the emotional and, the logistical aspects of separation. And I just think that's such a valuable role that you're playing. Divorce is just so incredibly challenging and having someone to guide you through it must make a huge difference. So let's just dive into one of the core topics we want to discuss here today, and that is the benefits of divorce coaching.
For me, I wished when I went through my divorce, I was really wishing someone understood what I was going through and what I was facing. And even though you do have family and friends and they're great for emotional support, they don't have the guidance and the expertise to really help you navigate the complexities of divorce that are unique to every country. So, that was something that I found that was very difficult to go through. Yeah. So when I was going through my divorce, I felt that I really struggled with having someone understand what I was going through and what I was facing. And, for this reason, I really feel like it's important to have someone in your corner who understands what you're going through. Having friends and family is really great for emotional support, but they don't understand or they don't have the specific knowledge or the guidance to be able to help you navigate the complexities of divorce. I really feel like when it comes to divorce, you really have to be in it to fully understand and grasp how it is. There's the legal
Mhm.
side of it, which is it's like entering a very confusing maze. And then there is the emotional side of it, where because you are not seeing things clearly and you're not thinking clearly because of the pain and the uncertainty. So for this reason, it's really, really helpful. When I was going through my own divorce, I really struggled with having someone understanding the challenges that I was going through and what I was facing. And I felt like friends and family are really great for emotional support, but were not able to provide me with the expertise and the knowledge to guide me through the process. And I really feel like divorce is one of those things that you really need to be in it to fully grasp it. There is the legal side of divorce, which could feel like a very confusing maze. And there's the emotional side of divorce where it's really hard to see clearly and to think clearly because of all the uncertainty and all the pain. And I think that's where divorce coaching comes in. It offers a lot of practical guidance. It offers practical solutions, which could really make a huge difference when we are going through things like, for example, parenting assessments or preparing for mediations or even preparing for cross examinations in legal proceedings. This, I think, are one of the biggest benefits to that as well. Another aspect that is really helpful with divorce coaching is just having someone in your corner who could be your thinking partner, who could actually work with you to strategize on what are the best decisions, what are the next best steps to do. Sometimes you need someone to help you know when to fight and when to step back.
Mhm.
So I think all in all, divorce coaching is extremely beneficial, especially when it comes to the overall emotional support. Having someone who just understands where you're going through, who's able to listen to what you're going through and help you stay grounded while you are facing all these challenges.
Yes, that makes so much sense. And having that clarity and the support must bring such a sense of control to a situation that often feels so out of control. So, you mentioned the benefits of mediation. Could you explain how mediation is beneficial and how it actually complements divorce coaching? Would you say that mediation is always the best route to finalize a divorce?
Separation and divorce in general are really one of the most difficult and hardest life transitions anybody can go through. And it comes with a lot of, complex disputes. It comes a lot with emotional stress. And I think mediation is really a great way to provide a structured and neutral environment for people to come together and work out their issues to find agreeable solutions. I really think mediation is one of the most efficient, affordable, and amicable ways to finalize a divorce if both people are willing to come together and mediate in good faith. When it comes to mediation, I think the biggest benefits is that it's confidential. So, when people are issues in mediation, they have no fear that that this information will be taken as evidence against them in court if they wish to go to court. So everything within mediation is confidential. This helps them to have open conversations, candid conversations, without any fear of jeopardizing their legal position if they need to go to court. That's one of the benefits of mediation. You make your own decisions, you write your own agreement. The outcome is what you want it to be. Nothing is imposed on you. And that's golden. But when you go to litigation and you are dealing with, let's say, a judge, which is ultimately a stranger, is going to be making decisions about the most intricate and the most important aspects of your life. We're talking about your children, your parenting, your properties, your finances, your future ultimately. So, having these legal binding decisions and those outcomes, they're binding. That's it. Like if you don't like it, you still have to follow it. So we need to remember that the alternative, which is litigation, it's public, it's extremely expensive, and it could take years. Of course, it depends on the complexity of the situation. Mediation, on the other hand, is definitely more affordable. It's much faster. It can go from weeks. It depends on the case. But ultimately, I truly believe the aftermath of mediation and litigation are very different. Because in mediation, you create your own agreement. Both parties are together deciding on their separation agreement. They most probably will have a better, healthier co-parenting relationships. Because they created this agreement in their own will, they most probably will follow this agreement and there will be less conflict in their lives. As opposed to in litigation, unfortunately, it festers a lot of resentment. So, parties are not liking each other at this point, and then they have a outcome or a decision that they have to follow, and the possibility of them following it will be lower. So definitely mediation is a better option, but again, it's not for everyone. And like,
Yes.
you asked me about that. If it's a good process, I mean, I think it's a good process. Generally speaking, yes, it's a great process, but it's not for everyone. We need to remember that because the fundamentals of mediation and the most important part of mediation is that people must be able to advocate for themselves and mediate and negotiate freely without any fear of repercussions. And this is why, as mediators, we take our clients through a thorough screening process to make sure that mediation is indeed a viable option for them, to make sure that mediation is a safe option for them, and what are the safeguards that are needed to make sure that it protects all parties. So, mediation might not be suitable for everyone. Some people are not willing to engage in the process, some people are not willing to mediate.
Mhm.
So, when that happens, obviously mediation is not going to work. Another reason mediation might not work is when domestic abuse is the big factor. Sometimes you need to go to court because the court will be able to provide you with, the orders or the protective orders required for that case, and mediation won't be able to provide that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's really so important to understand these differences. Thank you so much. So now, how would you say divorce coaching differs from, say, therapy?
Divorce coaching and therapy are very different. Divorce coaching is very present and future focused, and therapy is more past focused. So, when we're talking about as a coach, my goal is to motivate, support, and guide my clients through their divorce process by helping them find practical solutions for their challenges that they are facing right now, and also preparing them for the issues that might happen in the future. So when it comes to coaching, we are talking about strategic solutions, setting goals, and making decisions in real time. When it comes to therapy, which is also extremely important, therapy is past focused. Therapists, they sit with their clients and they evaluate, they assess, and they treat the emotional and mental challenges that their clients are going through, the root causes of their issues. While therapy is extremely healing and it helps clients understand, their past, coaching is all about, working in the now and working towards the future by providing the tools required to handle the future. So they're very different. They complement each other. They're very, very different.
Yes, that's a great distinction. And so, like you said, therapy helps heal while coaching moves people forward through a challenging process. So, for someone who is going through a high conflict divorce, what kinds of services do you offer as a coach?
So, as a coach specializing in high conflict divorce, I help my clients navigate the complexities of divorce. And my services really are customized differently and it's tailored differently to the unique needs of each client because everybody goes through very different experiences and it really depends on what they need. But all in all, I would say a lot of the work is about mastering their mindset, organizing their documentation, preparing them for legal proceedings, like I mentioned before, parenting assessments or motions, questioning, preparing them emotionally and strategically as well. That I believe is really important. I also work on co-parenting communication. I work with them on how to communicate so that they can advocate for themselves in court so their voices are heard and their interests are protected. So I think all in all, my goal is to empower my clients to move forward in their divorce with clarity, with confidence, and with the emotional resilience because of the adversity of high conflict divorces.
I love that you work one-on-one with clients to help develop those customized strategies. Like you said, everybody's different, everybody's going through a different situation. So building that plan to move forward is really crucial at this point. So thank you. That was incredibly helpful.
Yeah, no, no problem.
Especially for those high conflict situations where the emotions are just running super high. Last question I wanted to ask you before we wrap up. I'd love to hear about your vision for the future. So, where do you see yourself and your business heading?
Right now, I'm a divorce coach and I specialize in high conflict divorces. I do work with all kinds of clients in different stages of their divorce, but I also specialize in high conflict divorces and I'm an accredited family mediator as well. I aspire to also become a parenting coordinator. I believe parenting coordination is an invaluable service for parents that finalized their separation agreement, but they're having trouble interpreting and applying their parenting agreement. There's a lot of conflict around that. Parenting coordinators, they help those resolve those disputes so that the parents don't keep going back to court for every little thing or everything, right? So parenting coordinators help do that. So I think that that's extremely beneficial and it's really useful to help them with resolving small matters that are still important, but things like, for example, transitions of the children or their where do they go for school, or for example, do they do therapy or they don't do therapy, or holiday schedules or Christmas, all these things that are the day-to-day of interpretation of a separation agreement. If parents are still in conflict and they still can't see eye to eye, it's helpful to have someone that is able to help them interpret and apply their agreements. So I think that's really helpful. And through parenting coordination, my goal is to help parents avoid court, which is, like we discussed before, is extremely time consuming and extremely expensive, and help them also have healthier co-parenting dynamics. It's an extension to my goal, which is to basically help parents and families get through divorce with the least amount of conflict as possible.
That's amazing. I love that vision, Zay. I'm sure you're going to make such a
A lot of
huge
work.
impact in this field. Absolutely. And thank you so much for joining us today. Before we wrap up, though, was there anything else you wanted to share we didn't already cover today?
I'm just really grateful to meet you and sit with you and talk to you and for having me. And I truly believe that divorce is one of the hardest transitions. Not easy. I think people should reach out for support, reach out for guidance, reach out for the expertise, because divorce is one of those things that you don't even know the details of it until it hits you. Reach out and get the expertise that you require and the knowledge and the guidance, the better you are to navigate your divorce process.
Absolutely. And what's the best way to reach out to you for our listeners?
So you can go to zaykamel.com, so www.zaykamel.com, and you could book an introductory session through my website,
Okay.
and you can go from there.
Thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your insights on divorce coaching and mediation. I know our listeners are going to walk away with so much valuable information.
Thank you so much, Christina. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And to our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Professional Women's Meetup podcast. Until next time, take care and stay empowered.
Thank you so much.